the Fate franchise is arguably one of the most popular anime franchises of all time. And you'd think with that type of popularity, companies would just jump at the opportunity to make any type of merchandise based off this IP. And in some regards, they have. You open up Ami Ami on any given day and there's at least 1 or 2 Fate figures just sitting there. Despite all these companies wanting to do more merchandise and all this opportunity for merchandise to be released, where are the Rin figures? Where'd they go? Are they over there? Where are they? You heard that right. Rin Tohsaka, one of the 3 main heroines of the Fate Stay Night game and anime, has jack shit when it comes to merchandise. To be fair, Fate Stay Night itself is actually relatively old despite the recent popularity of the Fate series in general. The original Fate Stay Night anime released damn near 15 years ago. The game long before that. And it's an argument I would believe if Saber didn't exist. She has like a jabillion figures, releasing a couple every month. And nothing for Rin? Nothing? And another point is I got into the Fate franchise relatively recently when compared to the typical fan. I got into watching Fate during the quarantine. What do you mean the quarantine was 6 years ago? It was like 3 years. What? What the fuck have I been doing? And because I'm more of a recent fan, maybe all the nice Rin figures have come and gone. With all the nice Rin figures fetching a price tag. Makes me question this fucking hobby. So now I'm faced with a dilemma. After watching Fate Stay Night, watching UBW, playing the visual novels, I have decided that Rin was my queen. And that might have been a mistake. Because now, I'm faced with a choice. I need to represent my queen in any way, shape, or form that I can. And that's typically in the medium of figures. Now, if you weren't listening at all, these figures are expensive. So, I am left with a couple decisions. Number 1. Do I wait and stay patient and seriously consider what figure I buy based on my financial situation? 2. I just compromise and buy something like a prize figure or an android. Or 3. Say fucking buy the best one. Would you like to make a guess on what I chose? Dude, I am an idiot. Achoo! Achoo! This is Good Smile Company's Rin Tohsaka figure based off the popular Fate Stay Night franchise. Now originally, this figure released in 2011 and it was actually based off Unlimited Blade Works, the movie. I also forgot there was a movie. Like I said in the intro, Rin Tohsaka figures are generally very expensive, especially when you go towards the nicer end of the scale. And this one's no exception. Now, as to why this is the case, it's probably a mixture of the fact that there's a lack of releases and she's a very popular character. Either way, I paid a lot for her. Now, another thing is I bought this figure like 5 years ago. So, fortunately, I only bought her for the low price of $260 Canadian. You will soon find out that was a bargain. Now, speaking on the figure itself, this figure is actually based off a promotional image used for UBW. The movie. I keep forgetting there's a movie. And I also mainly chose this figure primarily because of the pose. This figure looks fucking badass, dude. I feel like just the overall composition is just so well done. Now, something about this figure just has really nice flow to it. Like she's in mid-motion, and that's probably because of the hair. The hair is so well done, dude. It just gives it this nice sense of flow to it, while also adding to the overall silhouette of the figure. This figure just commands your attention, dude, and it's surreal. I also think that the combination of her dynamic pose And the fact that the base is very well done with all the detail and the extra props like the swords just makes this figure very well rounded, and it just completes the overall look. Now, speaking of the swords themselves, she can actually hold them. Why would she do that? But in terms of accessories, she actually comes with a couple. One of them is actually this dagger, which I believe is from Heaven's Feel, but the one that matters to me the most is probably the amulet. Makes sense. I love Archer. I love Archer. He's just so cool. If they like made a figure that like recreates that poster just perfectly with like him standing there, I might just scream. Now, speaking on the finer details of the figure, I feel like they dialed up the contrast to like 11 and just said, let's just use all the shading we can. When you take a look at places like the hair, when they use such contrasting colors to each other, it just makes the hair look like an art piece, dude. And the same follows suit when it comes to the rest of the figure. They use such contrasting colors for the shading. It's so cool looking. And add on to the fact that they're using unconventional materials and finishes. The leggings and shirt have this shinier finish to them, which is something you don't really see on figures nowadays. But it gives it this such unique look. I think the combination of these unique materials and this heavy shading just give this figure such an illustrated look. A look you can only really get from the 2010s. I don't know, it just looks great. Side note though, I think there was 2 versions of this figure released. I think one of the versions actually used a shinier material for the top and leggings, using a more ruby rose. And that's honestly the version I kind of wanted over this, but regardless, I think this looks great anyway. Another thing about the design though, you can clearly tell that this figure was made before the big redesign of the entire Fate franchise. So it has the older type style, more reminiscent to something like the anime. In my personal headcanon though, this is actually a representation of the visual novel. So that might be copium, but it's what I like to tell myself. Now overall though, I think this figure is so close to perfection, like it's insane. Like I can understand some people might have gripes here and there. Some might not like the more unique materials or the exaggerated shading. Some might not like the older anime look to it. Personally, I don't like the fact that she's not looking straight. Now I understand that it's based off the promotional image, and in that image she's not looking straight either. By herself, in isolation, it looks fine. It looks great even. But then you stand her up next to other Fate figures or any other figure, and it just looks a little off. An easy fix to this is you just twist. You twist the figure so that she can look straight. But because of that, now you can't really see the swords. Real dilemma, I know. Speaking of the swords, I hate them. I hate these things. I know, I was singing their praises earlier, but they're just so finicky, man. I don't remember if there were instructions for these, but it just seems so vague where they should go, right? You really just have to match the hole and the actual width of the sword to kind of guess where they're supposed to go. And even if you get that right, one little nudge, and they fall right off. Now, don't actually put them in too hard or else they'll get damaged. I fucking hate these things. Sometimes I don't even put them on. Maybe she was meant to hold them after all. But in conclusion, this figure is amazing. I absolutely love this figure. To me, it just captures that early anime look, that visual novel look that Fate used to have. And it's just so unique when you compare it to any of the figures releasing nowadays, without standing out too much. I have her sitting next to the Saber Ultra Saber figure, and it doesn't look that bad. It's just the mixture of the flowing hair, the dynamic pose, the unique shading and materials, in addition to the base and the props alongside it. Despite how annoying they can be, this figure just looks so amazing. Again, there's nothing much to complain about. For a figure that's damn near 16 years old, it's held up really well. Like, looking at this figure and feeling this figure now, I am confident to say that it'll last another 5 to 10 years easily. Now it has to, based off that price. Yeah, if I can think of one deterrent of this figure, it probably is the price. It's probably the one thing that's stopping a lot of people from actually going out of their way and buying this figure. And it makes sense. It's a 16-year-old figure. No matter how nice it is, why is it that much? Despite that price, is she worth it? Kind of hard to say. If you find her at the price that I got her for, which was around 260 Canadian, go for it. Yeah, do it. Right now. But for over 300 CAD, it's a little bit of a harder pill to swallow. Now, I think the real issue here is you don't really have much of a choice. Compared to the alternatives, I don't think you'll find something as nice. It's either they're of a lower quality, she's not wearing the original outfit, or it's a fucking android. So unless you're willing to drop big bucks on something that looks and feels amazing, you might be out of luck. But if you are willing to drop that type of money, and you really don't mind any of the gripes I mentioned earlier with the unique shading and the older anime art style, you won't be disappointed. This figure is amazing. There's a reason why this is considered a holy grail to many. It truly lives up to its reputation. It's amazing. This is one of my favorite figures in my collection, bar none. Just a little bit of advice though. If you are dead set on buying this figure or any other Rin figure, have a little bit of patience. I understand that the prices look crazy nowadays and there aren't many listings to begin with, but if you look just a little bit harder and wait a little bit longer, I think you'll find a price that you might be happy with. That's at least what I did. But speaking of price though, can we talk about how much this figure used to cost? 12,000 yen. 12,000 yen. That's like $80 Canadian. That was probably like what, 120 back in 2020? That's insane. I don't know if it's because I got into this whole figure scene relatively recently when compared to other people, but that much for a figure this nice feels surreal. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't exist. I refuse to believe that this figure cost this cheap, even though I paid double for it. Nope. Nah. Doesn't exist. Why is this hobby so expensive? I could have moved out by now. Dude, I really chose plastic instead of moving out. That's nuts. That's nuts. I don't deserve a bank account. Yeah, this one took a while to make. For whatever reason, everything in my life just decided to happen all at once. So that's why that took a while to make. This is the first time I'm addressing this Fate series at all in my channel, so it's a little bit nerve-wracking. So if I get any facts wrong, any dates, any little tidbits wrong, please don't destroy me in the comments. Just let me know. Or you can destroy me, whatever. Anyway, hopefully you can watch my next video. It should be out a lot quicker than this one because I'm a lot more free now. Anyway, bye.